Hey guys, it's Dr. Kim Sage. Welcome to my channel. If you are just tuning in, this channel is all about attachment and relationships and childhood trauma and complex trauma, and hopefully tools also to help you with issues like anxiety and self-esteem and places in your life where you struggle, and it may be related to the beginning of your story, your own childhood. Today is actually going to be a video I am posting for Mother's Day specifically. And so I hope you will know that if you are someone who is in the midst of grieving a mother that you loved dearly, that you had a healthy relationship with, if you are someone who has a healthy relationship, this video may not feel as appropriate for you, but I want you to know that whatever stage you're in of longing for or being with a healthy mother, it really is a blessing for you, because there are many people for whom that is not the case. Many people for which the case today, Mother's Day, is an open, gaping wound or a bruise that never seems to heal. Maybe even a scar that has, become less visible but will never be invisible. Today's video is really about what it looks like when your mother has some type of disorder, whether it is borderline or narcissism, some type of issue where you felt traumatized in many ways, and or it's a really complex relationship. She's still in your life, but it's a chaotic relationship, and what I often call mama trauma. That's what today's video is about. So before I go into that though, I want to say that I am so sorry for not posting for the last several weeks. I have been very busy working in my private practice, as you guys know, and sometimes I struggle to get videos out. But the truth is that I have been growing my TikTok channel, which is actually doing really well. It has been amazing. And so I'm getting to meet new people and communicate there too. My goal is to share knowledge there in little bites and also then do longer videos here. I'm working on some really exciting things that are going to come to my channel soon. I'm very excited about a new way I want to really lean into in terms of doing my work here, and it's hopefully going to be a dream. I kind of don't want to share it until it happens, just in case it doesn't, but I'm hoping that the next big video I post will be the beginning of many videos in this way, and I hope you will enjoy it. I am honestly over the moon about it. I'm so excited. And so that's one thing. I'm kind of getting teary thinking about it. So, but I really hope it's a way to just dive even deeper into mental health and our stories and other people's stories. And the second thing is I am actually finally building and beginning to build the courses I want to create. And given that I truly do have a full-time job, I'm struggling. I'm trying to find ways to balance it, but I really want to create some courses on healing mama trauma, whether it's a borderline mom or narcissistic mom or dad, or also I should say, and healing attachment. Those are kind of my first goals and relationship stuff. So keep an eye out for those. It might take me a bit, but I'm hoping to kind of push myself and get through them. Okay, so thanks again also for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and click the bell, and that way you'll get notified when I post new videos. Okay, so let me just say that I think Mother's Day is one of the most triggering holidays for so many reasons. And I've said it a million times, but I do believe that the mother-child relationship of all relationships, at least initially, is the most sacred because, and if you think about survival, whether it's a female or male or non-binary person providing, mothering is what I'm talking about. So the core is that primary source initially, and really supposed to be throughout your life, a source of security and stability. And when it's not, it's one thing. But when it is inconsistent, hurtful, wounding, scary, dangerous, deep love that feels so intense and like you can't live without this person as a mother or mother figure, and then also feeling like you hate that person and you've thought about perhaps them passing, right? It's so complicated. And so today I want to say to you, those of you who aren't so fortunate to have mothers that you had healthy relationships with, but to all of you who are, facing Mother's Day as a daughter or son of a mother that you wished you'd had, of a wounded, angry, toxic mother figure. If you're somebody who is longing to be a mother, to heal many of your wounds, that is very possible, but you're not there yet. Or you've lost pregnancies in the midst of that and you're so much wanting to heal and become a mother, my heart is with all of you today. For all of the stepmothers who step in and create these environments for our kids that truly do allow them to be safe and well and loved, thank you to you. Really to everybody who is facing today with, let's say, a mother who they had a really bad relationship with and that person isn't here anymore, or their mother is here, but they are not in contact with them. And the truth is that whether you're speaking to them or not, it's excruciating at times. And yet for many, many people, no contact truly is the healthiest way to be. And so I just want to go through today, obviously you can make it work, that's great, and have boundaries and all that, that's the first goal. But if you can't, you should not have shame about that. You should see it as a final act of self-protection and one that you could not provide for yourself, in whether it's setting boundaries as self-protection or no contact or somewhere in between, a limited surface relationship. I want you to know that you are worthy of protecting yourself and you are worthy of the things I just want to share with you today. All right. So that's the first part. My heart really is with all of you and your many, many different stories and the ways that life plays out. It can be really painful and really, really hurtful. So I want to say to you a few things, that if your story is a complex, complicated one, and as you've probably watched, if you have any of my videos on borderline, you know that I do believe this is much more common than we realize. And the reason why I know it's true is because when I post little videos or TikToks, people will often email me or post and say, I've never seen this before. I feel so validated. I didn't understand why I have so much love for her and why I hate her. It wasn't so simple as black and white, right or wrong. There's often this massive gray area. And this can be true for narcissistic moms as well. I think we like to demonize this disorder in narcissism. And in many cases, people do have this, opposite good or bad dynamic. But I think in many people's lives, whether it's even a diagnosis of borderline or not, it's often extremely complicated. But it's especially complicated when you have that good love and bad love, whether that's from your childhood or you're still facing it now. And so I just want you to keep in mind, your mama trauma, in whatever form it is in, was not your fault. I'm going to say it again. It wasn't your fault then. And it's not your fault now. People who are wounded and struggle are wounded and they struggle. And oftentimes we are just the aftermath. We are the pathway that's left behind. We are the wound that is left behind. And that's the first thing. I want you to know it's not your fault and that you are allowed to protect yourself today. Next, I want to just say that with true compassion to those who struggle with borderline and narcissism, and yes, even narcissism, although they're probably not watching this video, their children probably are, is to say that you deserve compassion too. That even though it's hard to find compassion for what feels so hurtful, you do. I know that you struggle. But you have to understand that your wounds can create their own significant wounds in us, your children. And as I say, we don't get a diagnosis. There's no label for us, those of us who were raised by these women and men. We can get labeled with, trauma and anxiety and depression and self-esteem issues and CPTSD and the list goes on and on. But it doesn't really sum up what it's like to suffer at the hands of a caregiver and to also have that person be your, as I always say, your source of security they're supposed to be, and also be one of the greatest wounds of your entire life. It doesn't compute in our brains, and it leaves us truly, and the research shows, at a much higher risk for our own psychiatric illness. And it makes mothering our own children more complicated sometimes, because some people will say, I don't even want to be a mother because I don't want to be my mother. I mean, think about that. If you really wanted to be a mom, or a dad, right? Regardless, a parent in some way. So you have to know that these wounds are significant, and none of these videos or TikToks I make are meant to stigmatize and label more, because I do know how much you suffer. But these videos are really meant to shine the light on those victims, and they are victims when you're a child of people who struggle. Okay, so that's the first thing, is that it's not your fault, and you do deserve to protect yourself. The second thing, and the third thing, is that these are wounded and very very broken people sometimes inside. And I'm talking about the ones who are and remain untreated. I'm not talking about people who are suffering but try to do the work, and maybe they fall down but they're trying. There's a whole generation of us, and not just generation, frankly, because treatment is so hard to access, and even treatments for borderline, let's say, or narcissism, which, NPD doesn't come into therapy as much, is that it's hard to find support in therapy. It's not easy. We still are not on the right track at times for mental health in this country. And so it's not so simple as that. And so you need to know that in some ways, understanding their label, whether it's BPD or NPD or schizophrenia or some version of bipolar, that they also suffered. And when you understand that there is a real disorder out there, there's a real mental illness, I truly believe it gives us permission as children to say, oh my God, it's not my fault. And it also in some ways wasn't their fault. Yes, they are still accountable to their difficulties, but access and healing and self-accountability aren't the same for everyone. But I think understanding the diagnosis or some form of it, even just traits, gives us the permission to say, wow, it wasn't my fault, because kids make it our fault, as I've said a million times, because we're egocentric and everything revolves around us. And so if you don't love me well, then it must be me, right? Or if you hurt me. But that they also suffer, and it's a significant suffering in many cases. The next few things are that you are allowed to have the mixed feelings of loving her or him, but today it's about mothers or the mothering role, and hating them. And you are allowed to do it from a distance. You're allowed to do it in the relationship. You are allowed to feel whatever it is you feel. You are worthy of validation and your story being seen and heard, truly, and healed and understood. But I want you to know that there is no right or wrong. So many people, we have this taboo around talking crap about our mothers. And it's like, oh, well, she's your mom. Oh, she's your only mom you'll ever have, or father. Oh, she had a mental illness. Yes, that is all true. And you can choose to engage or not. But it is incredibly important to know that you get to feel what you feel. And so if someone shares with you that, or you tell somebody that you're not talking to your mom, the last thing that you want to say to this person is, well, are you sure you've tried everything? Nobody walks away and goes to no contact, and I'll keep saying it till I'm not here anymore, for no good reason. Nobody. Think about that. Why would you want to disconnect from what is supposed to be a great source of love and support your whole life, not just in childhood? And so you should know that it's okay to feel whatever it is you feel, and that you're worthy of being heard and understood. You are always worthy of a loving, present, and available mother. And if you cannot have access to that today, doing the work to healing that is incredibly important to living the best life you can, because it is a lingering wound. And so you should know that, whether it's watching videos or reading books or doing therapy, that can be incredibly important, and you are worthy of investing in yourself in whatever ways that is, whether it's time or resources or money or all of the above, in whatever way that you can to try to heal your life, because it truly impacts us so much to have these wounds. So here's a few things that are not okay. If you still don't know and you're looking for labels, I'll be, probably keep posting more videos about this, and you can check out the many videos I've made. But here's just a few things that you should know that are not okay. So I'm going to go over what those are, and then I'm going to go over what your rights are as a human being and daughter or son of a parent who may be very hurtful. It is not okay for a parent to make you their best friend, to confide in you and put emotional burdens on you, for them to have you navigate adult fights when you're a child, or even now. I've heard this so many times. It is not okay for a parent to call you names, to label you, to just rage at you and say mean, hurtful things, and then later say, I never said that. What are you talking about? I'd never say that. To gaslight you and minimize your feelings. None of those things are okay. I don't care if they were done yesterday or 20 years ago. This is an important place for you to understand that none of these things are okay or normal just because they were or are your normal. No one should be lying to you, physically or emotionally or otherwise abusing you. You should not feel that a parent is always threatening to not help you, to take away your babysitting or resources or finances in some way, whether it's their inheritance. It is not okay to be constantly threatened that you will be abandoned and just forget it, I'll leave and you're on your own. It is not okay for your parent to use your struggles, your wounds, the things in your life that didn't go well as a way into your life and as currency to help you. For example, if you need help with your children and you have no one else, understandably so, we let parents in, but this is often the door that opens up and keeps it open to more abuse, to more toxicity, to more struggle. And so in every case that you can find other people to help you, it is the ideal scenario. I know it's not always possible, but I can promise you that until you remove that toxicity, you're not going to be able to change. You can do all the work in the world, but if you do that work and then you go back into a relationship with a mother that is verbally or mentally or physically or emotionally abusive in some form, you're never going to be able to get to a place where you truly feel healed. It is just too difficult, and you are walking back into the storm every time you do that. It's not okay to have a parent who makes everything about them. It is not okay to have a parent who destroys and ruins every freaking holiday you've ever had. If you have holiday PTSD with your mother, you can bet there's something significant going on. If you can say, yeah, pretty much every holiday it became about her and was a blow up, those are huge, huge signs. If you had a parent who exposed you to adult situations, who then opened the door to more trauma for you, who repeatedly emotionally made you responsible for them and still does so today, none of those things are okay. So if there's any form of that, please know that something's not right. And you can try to justify or explain it and have compassion. And like I'm saying, they deserve compassion. But you have to first have compassion for yourself. And it is not selfish. You are not selfish or spoiled or a brat, whatever you've been called, because you're trying to set boundaries and protect yourself. You are worthy of being healed and whole. And the only person that can do that for you is you. Okay? Lastly, I just want to read to you from this book, and I think this is a great book. It's called Mothers Who Can't Love by Susan Forward. And she has a lot of books on toxic parenting. And when I first got into this book, it kind of sat with me, well, what do we mean don't love? I mean, I know that this person loved me. And then someone I hold in great high regard said to me, okay, but how do you define love? Like, what really is love? And I'm not going to tell you that I've totally reconciled this question because I think it's complicated. I think it's complicated love. But in this book, and there's a lot of parts in it that are just really great, and you've probably seen me already post things about it on TikTok and otherwise, and I'm going to keep doing it. But I want to read to you what Susan Forward talks about as your rights, because I think Mother's Day, if today is a day of pain for you, is a day to remind you of what you are worthy of wherever you are on your journey. And so I'm just going to read to you what they are. Number one, you have the right to be treated with respect, and all that that means. You have the right to not take responsibility for your mother's or other people's problems or bad behavior. It is not your fault, and it is not your responsibility to make it right for them. You have the right to be angry, to feel every ounce of anger and rage and wound that you feel. You are entitled to feel that regardless of who the person is, even if your wounding human is your own mother or mother figure. You have the right to say no. No, 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 no. Repeat after me. No, I won't do that anymore. No, I will not accept that anymore. No, that no longer works for me. The next one is you have the right to be imperfect and to make your own mistakes. No one expects you to be perfect, but in these childhoods, we often believe we were supposed to be, because that is how we tried to get the love we needed. But it's okay for you to screw up and make mistakes. You have the right to your own feelings and beliefs and convictions about everything, how you want to live your life, what spouse you choose, how you raise your children, how you parent your children, whether or not you believe in this religion or that religion, or this political party or another. You are entitled to your own beliefs. You have the right to ask for help and emotional support from all kinds of people in your life. You are worthy of being helped. There's no medal you get for braving this world completely alone. Even though in your childhood that is how you survived, you do not have to maintain that position. You can rely on friends and family, not making your children your emotional support, but being an emotional support maybe when you get older, right? And lastly, you have the right to stand up and say no to abuse, to criticism, to hurt, and to chaos. You are worthy, and I want you to know on this Mother's Day, wherever you sit, wherever your heart is at, whatever wounds you are holding deep within your heart, you matter. Your wound matters. And it doesn't matter what I think, or your neighbor, or your spouse, or your mother or father think. You are worthy of validation and trusting your own voice and knowing that your story, it really does matter. So, I will be sending love to all of you today, and wherever you are in your life, and wherever phase of child, mother, daughter, son, know that I'm thinking about you and wishing you well. And I hope that you will join me soon for more to come. Hopefully my own story someday I will share. I'm working on that, but I'm not ready to share it yet. Someday I will. And but I really hope to be sharing other amazing human stories soon. So stick around for that. And hopefully just keep on going with more mental health content around these topics that you guys already know I'm so passionate about. So thanks for watching. Please stay safe and well. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. Please also feel free to post down below. And thanks again. Take good care.